Hello guys, welcome to our YouTube channel SRIP Edu Pharma. We are going to start this video on physicochemical and biological properties of drugs relevant to controlled release formulations. This topic we study in Novel Drug Delivery Systems, which is the first chapter or first unit of NDDS subject in B.Pharm 7 semester in PCI syllabus and in B.Pharm 8 semester in old syllabus. So if you have not subscribed our channel, we recommend you or we request you to do like, share and subscribe our channel. Now come on, let's start our video. We all know that controlled release systems are the formulations which delivers drug in a predetermined amount in predetermined rate to the body. In this, the main point is that the quantity or amount is also known when we do the research and when we prepare the formulation, and we also know the rate, that is the time duration in which how much amount of the drug will be delivered to the body. So for formulating these type of systems, we have to consider various parameters while designing the formulations. So basically, here we have categorized into two categories. First is physiochemical properties. These are the properties related to the drug. And second is pharmacokinetic or biological properties, in which we see the ADME related properties or the properties related to our body. So now we'll be discussing one by one these properties. So here in physiochemical properties, we will be studying aqueous solubility, partition coefficient, drug pK, drug stability, molecular size and molecular weight, protein binding, complexation and ionization constant. And in biological properties, we will be studying biological half-life, dose size, absorption rate, elimination rate, therapeutic window, absorption window, patient physiology and route of drug administration. So the physiochemical properties of the drugs are the properties which are related to the physical parameters and the properties which are related to the chemical parameters. Like here we can see that the hydrophilicity or lipophilicity of the drug, then what is its partition coefficient, then drug pKa, drug stability, molecular size, molecular weight, then diffusivity, then protein binding, complexation, ionization constant. These are some of the parameters which are related or which must be known before we design any controlled release system. So we will start with first property, that is aqueous solubility, or we can say that the nature of the drug, whether it is hydrophilic or lipophilic. For controlled release, it is said that if the drug is very weak water soluble drug, then it is very difficult to design as controlled release formulation. So high aqueous solubility is required, as high aqueous soluble drugs are good candidates for controlled release drug delivery systems. We know that most of the active pharmaceutical moieties are either weakly acidic or weak or basic in nature. So these properties, it affects the water solubility of the active pharmaceutical moieties. And second thing is that if any drug is pH dependent, then also it causes very difficulty in formulating. So while preparing the controlled release systems, we see that the drug should not alter its properties if the pH is changed. Then next point comes that the BCS class 3 and 4 drugs are not suitable for preparing the controlled release formulations. And there is one more point. Generally, for good absorption, for good passive diffusion, we say that the drug should be in non-ionized form. So if the drug is in non-ionized form, then it will be properly absorbed. Next parameter is the partition coefficient, which is said as p-value. And p-value denotes the fraction of the drug into oil and aqueous phase. That is a significant factor that affects the passive diffusion of the drug across the biological membrane. Now in this condition, we have to see that, or we must know that the drugs which have very high or which have very low p-value, both are not suitable for controlled release. But it is said that it should be appropriate to dissolve the drug in both the phases. Hence p-value should be optimum. It should not be very high or very low. Now, between the time that a drug is administered and the time when it is eliminated from the body, it diffuses through a variety of biological membranes that act primarily as lipid-like barriers. So, this parameter is very important. And it is also said that apparent partition coefficient is APC, and the APC should be determined for the entire pH range in the GI tract. The major criteria in evolution of the ability of the drug to penetrate these lipid membranes is its apparent oil-water partition coefficient, which is defined as K is equal to C0 upon Cw, where C0 is equilibrium concentration of all forms of the drug and Cw is equilibrium concentration of all forms of the drug in an aqueous phase. Next is the drug pKa. pKa is a factor that determines the ionization of the drug at physiological pH in GIT. Here we have to know that the high ionized drugs are poor candidates for controlled release drug release system. The drug should be in non-ionized form, and the absorption of non-ionized drug occurs primarily or rapidly as compared to ionized drug from the biological membranes. Now here we have to know that the pKa range for an acidic drug, that ionization depends on the pH is 3 to 7.5, and for a basic drug it lay between 7 and 11. Now we will see the parameter drug stability. The drugs should be stable in all the type of environments like acidic, basic, then in the presence of gastric fluids, then in the presence of enzymes. If they are not stable, then they are not good candidates for these type of systems. If the drug gets degraded in stomach or in small intestine, then it will not be suitable for controlled release formulations because it will decrease bioavailability of the drug, as well as these will be very much difficult to formulate into prolonged release systems. So to counteract such problems, various modified release methods have been adopted that restricts the release at a required site of the GI. The parameters molecular size and molecular weight are very much important as it affects the molecules to diffuse across the biological membrane. Hence, the ability of the drug to pass through membranes, which is called diffusivity, which is a function of molecular size or molecular weight, is directly concerned. So, we have to take care of what is the molecular size and molecular weight of the drug that we are taking for preparing the formulation. We see that the molecular size of the drug that is less than 400 Dalton is easily diffused, but greater than 400 Dalton create a problem in drug diffusion. And for biological membranes, the limit is of 150 and 400 respectively for spherical molecules and chain-like molecules respectively. And an important influence upon the value of diffusivity D in polymers is the molecular size of the diffusing species. The value of D thus is related to the size and shape of the cavities as well as the size and shape of the drugs. Hence, we have to take care specially of molecular size and molecular weight while formulating these formulations. Next parameter is the protein binding. We know that protein binding means the drug binds with the protein macromolecules of our body. And if any drug has a tendency of binding in the body, then it itself will act as a reservoir. And if the drug is acting as reservoir, then there is no need of preparing any type of controlled release formulations. Hence, any drug that shows very high plasma protein binding, then they are not good candidates for controlled release drug release system. We know that the binding of drugs occurs in our body in the form of by blood components as well as by extravascular tissues. And in blood components also there are plasma proteins and like albumins, glycoprotein, lipoproteins. Then in plasma, then in blood cells there are hemoglobin, carbonic anhydrase, cell membrane, etc. So here we have to take care that the drug should not have very high plasma protein binding. This is the parameter that we have to consider. So complexation means any drug molecule can form complex with a complexing agent. So if any drug has the tendency of forming complexes, then that will be helpful in entrapping drugs of very high molecular weight which have low diffusivity through the membrane. So here, for example, we have seen that the complexing agent like beta cyclodextrin, it forms complex with various drugs and thereby it alters the solubility of the drug, and it also affects the release of the drug, and it affects the tendency of how we can prepare the controlled release formulation. We know that the ionization constant plays very important role in the absorption. When the drugs are in non-ionized form, then they are absorbed faster than the ionized species. And this also plays important effect on dissolution, membrane partition, complexation, chemical stability and drug absorption. Hence, ionization constant is also considered as a property while preparing controlled release formulation. Now comes second categories, that are biological properties which affect the preparation of controlled release formulations. In this, we will be discussing biological half-life, dose size, therapeutic window, absorption rate, elimination rate, absorption window, and patient physiology, as well as route of drug administration. Biological half-life is a pharmacokinetic parameter, and it means that it is the time that any drug takes to decrease by half its plasma concentration. And we should know that the biological half-life should be 2 to 6 hours for oral controlled release formulations. Generally, we see that if the drug has short half-life, then frequently the drug is required, or frequently we have to give the doses of drug. So such type of drugs are suitable for controlled release system, because by giving controlled release we can avoid the frequency of dosing. But it should not be very short, like it should be more than 2 hours. And if the drug has very long half-life, then there is no requirement of preparing controlled release. That is why we see that the drug should have biological half-life of 2 to 6 hours. Next is the dose size. The size of the drug plays a major role in determining the size of the final finished product. We know that to eliminate the repetitive dosing, we increase the dose of controlled release formulation as compared to conventional dose. So if the drug has very high dose, then the overall dose of the controlled release system will be comparatively more larger. So to avoid that, it is seen that the dose should be optimum. It should not be very high. If the drug has very high dose, then for those drugs we don't prepare controlled release formulation. Next parameter is therapeutic and absorption window. Therapeutic window is also termed as safety window, and it can be quantified by the term therapeutic index. And here we can see that therapeutic index is used to measure the margin of safety of the drug. And if when we see the formula, then therapeutic index, we can see that it gives the relationship between doses of a drug that causes a lethal or toxic effect with the doses that causes therapeutic effect. Okay, so this is also called as therapeutic ratio. Now we have already seen that if the drugs have very narrow therapeutic index, then they are not suitable for oral controlled release formulations. But we can prepare parenteral controlled release formulations for them. And if the delivery system is failed to control release, then it would cause dose dumping and ultimate toxicity. Hence, we have to avoid this. And what is absorption window? The drugs shows absorption. When the drug shows absorption from specific segment in GIT, then that is called, that range is called absorption window. If any drug shows specificity in this, then they are not good candidate for control release. So we have to see that the drugs should be absorbed throughout the GIT, and then only they will be considered as good candidate for control release. Next parameter we will see is absorption rate. The rate, extent and uniformity of absorption are very important factors that have to be considered while designing. In the previous video, we had seen that In conventional dosage form, the rate limiting step in drug delivery is absorption. But in the case of controlled release, the rate limiting step is the rapid release of the drug from the system. And rapid release is successful if the absorption rate is also high. So the compounds that demonstrate true lower absorption rate constants are considered poor candidates for controlled release system. Hence, rapid and throughout absorption of the drug in the GIT is important. Throughout absorption means that through complete GIT, the drug should be absorbed and there should not be specific absorption window for the absorption of drug. When we discuss the elimination rate, then the rate of elimination of the drug is described quantitatively by its biological half-life. We have already discussed biological half-life, that it should be between 2 to 6 hours for controlled release formulations. And if we see the formula, then biological half-life is equal to 0.693 V by CLS. Here V is volume of distribution and CLS is systemic clearance. And systemic clearance is observed by IV administered dose, in which the area under the curve is observed and accordingly the T half is calculated. When we are preparing the controlled release formulation, then we have to also consider the patient physiology, because these are the important variable parameters that may affect the release of the drug from the dosage form directly or indirectly. For example, gastric emptying rate, residential time, then GIT related diseases, then inherent irritation, acidity, basicity, then extent of local tissue irritation, nerve damage, inadvertent blood vessel entry, or age and physical condition of the patient. The important pharmacokinetic parameters that are considered during the drug selection are discussed here below. The parameter and comment you can see properly. First parameter is biological or elimination half-life, that we have already seen. It should be between 2 to 6 hours. Then elimination rate constant, that is KE, this is required for designing. Then total clearance should be, it is generally dose independent, and intrinsic absorption rate should be greater than the release rate. Apparent volume of distribution, that is VD, it is the parameter which affects the required amount of the drug. Absolute bioavailability should be 75% or more. Steady state concentration should be lower CSS and smaller volume of distribution. Then toxic concentration, the therapeutic window should be broader. So in this video we have completed the properties or parameters which have to be considered while preparing controlled release drug delivery systems or novel drug delivery systems. If you want to see or if you want to learn more topics of NDDS, then do watch our link. In this link we have given the playlist. This is the separate playlist that we have prepared for NDDS formulations. Do like, share and subscribe the channel SRIP Edu Pharma.